Hi, and welcome to another edition of Project Management for Small Business. I'm your host, Anthony Pavlich. Today we have with us Carolyn Kelly. She's a Toronto-based indie filmmaker. Her first two films have won some awards, and she's even shot some climate change footage for the UN in Iceland. She chose this career path in 2000 and decided to leave the security of working for others on established film sets and follow her passion for documentary filmmaking. It is a difficult and less than glamorous endeavor, but fulfilling and rewarding to her. Courses in documentary producing and screenwriting were essential for her to take on to tackle this business. So when she's not researching new stories, she's writing screenplays inspired by history or trying to be the best friend ever by filming weddings as a gift to the bride and groom. So thank you for joining me, Carolyn. How are you doing?
I am great, thanks. I'm happy to do this. Thank you for asking me.
I appreciate you being here, and for all of our listeners, so you can kind of hopefully give us some good tips and tricks. And before we get started, a little bit information about Carolyn that nobody will know is that she is the human grandmother of my Chihuahua, Churro, which is in my lap while we do this every day. And he's quiet, so that's a good thing. He's a quiet one, like his mother.
Like his mother, very quiet, yeah. Yes. Not like his father at all. No. So sorry.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, your business, your films, kind of.
Yeah, I'm an indie documentary filmmaker, which is the true sense of an artist, where you're going to get used to being broke for life. But it's fun, and I love what I do. And eventually you do actually get paid for doing this sometimes, which is quite cool. And I'm also a screenwriter. So
what kind of indie films have you done?
I am working on my third documentary at the moment. The first one was a very, very large piece that made it around the world, called The Antarctica Challenge, A Global Warning. And I actually partnered with a Canadian filmmaker, Mark Terry, and he is well known in the world for all of this. I mean, he goes to the UN climate meetings and speaks there and things like that. So that was a big film. I was more involved in the post-production side, and we ended up winning 15 environmental film awards from around the world.
Congratulations, awesome.
Thank you.
I did not know.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of cool. It looks nice on a resume. It's very impressive. And then I did a short doc on my own, a first one, like a 35-minute doc, which doesn't air in North America anywhere. I believe it's on pay-per-view in Europe somewhere, Eastern Europe. And it was on 5 retired strippers who came out of retirement for one more night on stage. So, of course, my mother was mortified. So because I'm in it, so that's why she's like, "Oh my God, my child." My goal is to be the Canadian Diablo Cody, who is like the former stripper who won the Oscar for the movie Juno.
Oh yeah.
My goal in life, yeah. So I'm now finally finishing in the editing process of a feature-length documentary, a first full feature on my own on Canada's oldest drag queen, still alive, still performing at 87, and lives on a teeny tiny pension, government pension, which is not much, but yet every weekend she'll dress herself up and she'll perform anywhere for a charity. She'll do a number anywhere.
That's awesome.
She's pretty cool. Yeah. So.
And then you said that you do screenwriting as well. So.
Screenplay, yeah. So I have one script I'm lengthening now, a zombie film, which I'm going to work on later today. And then I have another, a second film for, the first one is for a Canadian celebrity. This second one is also for another well-known Canadian celebrity. And it's almost like a time-traveling or a time-shifting period piece drama that is based around a true story. It was basically the O.J. Simpson trial of the 1600s. I adapted from a book written by a friend of mine called Base Spirits. And it's sort of like a time-shifting between present day and 1600s. It's based on a true story of the murder or the death of Sir Walter Calverley of York, of Calverley Hall. He murdered his children and attempted to murder his sons, or his wife rather, and he was sentenced to death by pressing.
Ooh.
Horrible way to die.
Yes.
But that all happened, so we got to visit the hall and get a tour, and Then, of course, our batteries died right at the same time, hers and mine, in the room where the boys were murdered.
Ooh.
In their room. Yeah, it's a little creepy. So she took that story and wove a psychological thriller around it, a book called Base Spirits, and it's a fabulous book. She's out of Stratford, Ontario.
That's a very popular genre right now.
Yeah,
I mean, there's Outlander that goes back
yes.
and forth.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's another
similar.
one. Yeah, and then there's another one that's all in Spanish called Siempre. It's Always a Witch. It's on Netflix.
Oh wow!
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's only had one season. It's only had one season, so it's a very it's one of those. It's like genres change. You have like witches, aliens, so
vampires,
werewolves. So the genres kind of like flow, and this seems to be a hot genre right now.
Yeah, it's good. So I've done the adaptation, and I need to shorten it. And there's a well-known Canadian she has read the book, so she's kind of waiting for the script. And then there's a future one, another script I have to write on Grace O'Malley, who is an Irish pirate queen for real. She's actually kind of badass. But I have interest from one of the actors of Game of Thrones, one of the women from Game of Thrones. Yeah,
very cool.
She wants to read that first, so she's on standby for that. So things are good.
That's great.
And I have a new doc lined up already. I've been contacted by a company called Canopy Growth. And they want to test or document the benefits of CBD oil, CBN oil, and a bit of THC on seniors in assisted living for the medical side. I know. I've immediately had friends say, how can I sell my house and get into assisted living?
How do you keep all these projects in line and on schedule and don't miss a deadline?
Scheduling for me, I am a fan of the calendar on my phone. It came with the iPhone. I immediately, as soon as I make an appointment for something, whether I'm standing at the counter at my doctor or dentist or on the phone or for this interview, it immediately goes into that calendar right away, which kind of gives me a memory seed. So then I'm like, oh, right, I did put something in the calendar. But I check the calendar constantly. And it's only on my phone because I'm not tech savvy. I did not take computer classes, so the bit that I do know, I've struggled to learn and struggled even more to maintain. I tend to make things disappear completely on my computer without knowing how. So it's bad. So I know how to use the calendar on my phone, which is a godsend for me. It's just amazing. It saves my life. And I have Final Draft for writing screenplays. It's about the only other software I know how to use. I gave myself a refresher on Skype yesterday. But I keep track of projects because there's always something different. It's like, okay, I've got to do a bit of research on something in England, or, I've got to look for a certain book online for, the story of Grace O'Malley, or I've got to make a phone call to Canopy Growth to set up a meeting. So everything goes into that calendar. And as for keeping track of projects, because I'm someone that usually has about 4 or 5 on the go.
Yeah.
At least, always, yeah. I am really old school in the sense that I went to the dollar store and I bought files. a little package of like 35 files or whatever it was, and file folders. And I went on, I believe it was Marketplace on Facebook, and I found somebody selling a small filing cabinet, like a 2-drawer, I think it was an IKEA build filing cabinet. They were like, free to a good home, or $15, so I don't remember. And I grabbed it and picked it up because it was just convenient for then. I've now moved on to a bigger, prettier one that I spend more money on. But I kept files. You can get supplies for this at Dollarama, and I keep the files that I'm working on stay at the front. And when I've done a project, I move it to the back, and everything goes into that file. If I pay for parking outside of Michelle Dubarry's building, the drag queen for the doc I'm finishing now, or doing out mailings for her, I keep these receipts, I put them into that file. If I have a signed contract for somebody who appeared on camera, I put them into that file. So I keep one file for everything, and each project has its own, and it stays near the front of my file cabinet. So they're there all the time, and I don't have to worry about, I put it down somewhere, where did I put it? Crap, it's in the office. I don't know. it just immediately goes into the one spot. I'm kind of a creature of habit that way. And I bought a whiteboard to write things down because I can't figure out how to make a spreadsheet. I have no clue.
No, actually, whiteboards are good. I mean, they're actually still used a lot in traditional project management and in agile project management, because a lot of times what we do is, like, for agile is we'll use a whiteboard with 3 columns. So you think you're old school, but for agile, they still use whiteboards and sticky notes.
I love sticky notes.
Well, because what you can do is you can, have one column of all your backlog, all your tasks that you need to do. And so all the sticky notes go up there. I have a virtual one that I use, Trello. But then when you're working on it, you move the sticky note to the center column in work.
Yes.
And then when it's done, you put it in the done one.
Yes.
So it's still,
that works.
It's not uncommon, even in today's technology, to go to something that simple when you want visibility.
I'm not a large company. I'm just me and the people that I work with on the side, like an editor when I need one, or a colorist, or a sound engineer. So I don't have big money for a startup. So I went to what I could afford, but what was convenient and what I needed. So the dollar store is your friend when you're an indie small budget startup.
Yeah. And the software I use for that, like, my virtual whiteboard is free. So So, I mean, and I can access it from my phone, from my computer. So, I mean, it's called Trello, Trello. And
look at that.
It's easy. You just create a card.
I was going to ask that. Is it easy to learn?
You create a card, and then you drag it.
Oh.
And if you want to color code the cards, you can. I mean, I have different color coded cards for personal, for the podcast, for the business. For school, because I teach at Sheridan. So they're color coded, so I know I can see, like, okay, there's a blue card there, that's for school, what do I need to do?
Right. Yeah, kind of like my I think I have 7 files at the moment that I have open that I'm working in. So yeah.
And it's just like sticky notes. You can do the same thing with different color sticky notes.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I do buy them in every color.
So you don't need, like, a big technology. You don't have to spend a lot of money to actually be organized.
You don't, no. When things started going more intense, I did run, which for some people was small business, I ran an Indiegogo, which is great for people in the arts field like myself. Somebody who has a product that they want to do, or a business plan. I would suggest Kickstarter. I'm pretty sure you can do Kickstarter if you're a Canadian. I know there's one of them where you can only be an American citizen to do one of these GoFunding. But,
there's quite a few of them out there, yeah.
There is now, yeah. But Kickstarter's well known. Indiegogo is well known for the arts, and that was great. That was helpful. And then I was able to do things like hire the sound engineer who's on standby. And even though I got her at a better rate because she is a friend, she also worked on the Shape of Water, which won an Oscar. So so I can hire people as opposed to finding someone to do it. Volunteer. I can at least have money to spend on her, and so she's on standby. Same with a composer. So that helped. That was a venue that helped for me when trying to find funding for small business. Those public funding sites, or whatever they're called, are fantastic.
Yeah, especially the indie people. You get the groups that are interested in those. Those different stories, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to help. Yeah.
And the products. I've had tons of friends buy products because they donate money, and then you get the product that they're raising money for. You actually eventually get that. Kickstarter is a great site for that. So if somebody's doing a startup business or a small business that you have a product, that is fantastic. I have a friend who works in film with me. Her husband is, he created, what is the name of the company? The Mysterious Package Company.
Okay.
Yeah, look that up. It's really fun. It's so fun. So you choose one of their packages as a gift idea to someone, and random mailings will show up for that person, and they won't know who it is until the very end. But the company has people who literally age paper, handwrite diaries, build sculptures, and they build them in the hundreds, thousands. Actually, Neil Patrick Harris is a huge fan of the Mysterious Package Company.
Oh, that's fun.
He started that business out of their living room because he's an artist and an artsy guy and very creative. And so you can do a one-off mailing, or you can do, 3 or 4 mailings, and then the reveal is sent to you. It's wicked fun. I've done this to a few people now. 3. It's great fun. So he started that, and then he ended up doing an online campaign and raised what he needed. And now the company's been bought now. They had somebody invest in it, and it's been bought out.
Is there some place that the listeners can go to see your films? How do they contact you?
You can contact me on a website that is so desperately in need of an upgrade.
Mine is too, but I have somebody working on mine now. So.
Yeah, again, not something I know how to do at all. Oh my God, I need to upgrade it so bad. But it is Jeepers Crow, and Jeepers is spelled with a Z. It's kind of like Jeepers Creepers, but it's Jeepers Crow, as in the bird.com. They can Google, I believe it's on YouTube, and I think they can see it free now, the Antarctica Challenge, A Global Warning. And that's the big environmental documentary I did. So Mark and I just were recently in, Mark Terry, the filmmaker there, we were recently in Iceland shooting climate change updates for the UN, which he brought to Poland last December to present my footage to policymakers and leaders from around the world to hopefully make a difference. But in some countries, there are a lot of deniers, sadly.
Yes.
Very much so. We'll leave that there.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, people can see. They can see the Antarctica Challenge. My short doc on the retired dancers. I have a copy at home. I believe you can only find it online somewhere in Eastern Europe. Kind of a good thing. I'm okay with that. But the new one is. We have an hour and 10 minutes cut now. I have one final big interview for this documentary that I need. It's really an important one, and I filmed that April 8th in Toronto. So, but at the moment, we are actually being considered for a Linda Lee Tracy Award, which also does give a bit further funding, and the winner will be announced at Hot Docs in May. So,
good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a little excited and. We'll see how the award goes. They announced the winner at Hot Docs, and it's kind of exciting. So
it is exciting.
Yeah.
Have you ever? We've gone a couple years to Lake Shorts.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, where's that at?
It's a short film festival. It happens right down on Lake Shore. We've gone with Dana, a co-worker of Matthew's, a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
And they show short films, and they have different awards for the short films and everything.
That would be fun. Wow. I'd like to go and see that. I like short films.
I didn't know if you knew about it. I thought you'd know.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah. I'm on a site called Without a Box, which is for filmmakers. And it's a site that you sign up to, and they will send you emails notifying you of every film festival that's coming up and ready to be entered, from, Lakeshore Shorts to Cannes. Yeah. Every film festival out there. So, I've probably seen it listed.
It's on Lake Shorts. It's like right around springtime, because I just know that every year when we go, it's all those bugs that come off the...
Oh, yes. Okay.
And when you walk through swarms of those bugs, so I know it's around springtime.
That's true. Fish flies, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Bugs, yeah.
That's exactly what they are. So you have to walk through those to get to the... It's right there by the schools, so there's schools on Lake Shore.
Humber, I think, is around Kipling.
Yeah, it's right there by Humber. It's right across from Humber. It's a building right across from Humber where they have it.
Cool.
So.
Oh, that's fun. Let me know. Well, if I'm around, then I'd like to come with. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you for coming on, and
you're very welcome. I hope that was helpful for someone, anyone.
Sure
yeah.
it definitely would be. I mean, like I said, it's just because it's a world of technology, not everything revolves around technology. You don't have to spend a lot of money to keep track of your projects and to do a good job at it. So.
You don't. Yeah, you don't. Not at first. You don't. No.
Well, I will put your link. I know exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure that the links that we talked about, for your website and that, are in the comment section. And
thanks. Okay. I hope that was good.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome.
Thanks again for joining us. Don't forget, if you have questions or you want to be a guest, send me an email at pmforSB@pavproconsulting.com. And remember to hit that subscribe button and watch out for the new episodes. If the day begins with a T, it's time for tips and tricks. Thanks for listening. Until next time.